Hi, I'm Sharon Calvert, and this is Eye on Tampa Bay. Today I have Ken Roberts with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about TBARTA. TBARTA has been in the news recently, having to do with some ethics and conflict of interest issues, especially with regards to its chairman, Ronnie Duncan. So what it did was it caused us to pause and take a look at TBARTA a little closer. So Ken, give us a little history here on TBARTA. How were they created, and when were they actually created?
TBARTA is the Tampa Bay Area Regional Transportation Authority. Transportation includes roads, transit, anything that moves people or freight in a 7-county area around the Tampa Bay. They came into existence in 2007. The state legislature created them and gave them vast powers, set them up as a regional transportation authority. At that time, and we discovered recently, that they set up their board. They have a 16-member board. 15 of the members have votes. And of those 15 voting members, Hillsborough County has one representative. The city of Tampa has one. So if you want to stretch it a little bit, out of a 15-person board, Hillsborough County has 2 people sitting on that board, and one of them specifically to represent Hillsborough County. But on the other hand, we make up 34% of the population in their jurisdiction. So we really should have 5 people on that board. So now, that begs the question. Why did that happen? Was this an oversight of the state legislature to build the board this way? Did they just make a mistake? Oh, gee, we forgot there were 34% of the people in Hillsborough County? I think not. I think it was formed the way it was for a purpose. And when you start asking yourself what that purpose could have been, it has to include disenfranchising the people of Hillsborough County.
So it looks like it was set up originally, it's got a representation problem. And because of the way it was set up, being regional in nature, do you think perhaps they were trying to implement a regional taxing authority with TBARTA?
That was their original intent. First they created it, and then they intended to make it a regional taxing authority that requires state legislation and would have required a referendum in each of the 7 counties. When they were formed in 2007, as everybody knows, business was great. There was money everywhere. But between 2007 and 2008, the recession hit. The housing bubble burst. And so when it came time to try to make them a taxing authority, there was no senator in the Florida Senate who wanted to talk about taxes, so they couldn't get that done. So they still needed funding. So in search of funding, they tried to get their hands on Hillsborough County's toll revenues. And I know legislators who were in the legislature at that time, and they fought them tooth and nail successfully, and they were unable to get their hands on our toll revenues. So TBARTA has not, by their makeup and by their behavior, has not been a friend of Hillsborough County.
And I think that should be worrisome to us, because just recently our own county commissioners were voting on a $50,000 funding to TBARTA. Our county dollars going to TBARTA. Well, we found out about it and brought it up as an issue, and it was interesting because it didn't seem like anybody really knew what that money was for, but it was going to TBARTA. So we had put a little pressure, and we successfully got that taken off the agenda, at least for now, and we'll watch that closely. But regional taxing authorities, we've got to be careful about those, because what does that do?
Yeah, well, the problem with regionalism, if you will, is it seems intellectually logical that something like transportation has to be looked at least partially regionally, because you're moving across large areas to accomplish good, efficient transportation. But what you have to be careful of is moving the decision-making too far away from the people, and disenfranchising or diluting their power at the ballot box in the process. And this is a great example of that. They move the decision-making one step further away from the people, and they disenfranchise the people in Hillsborough County so that our vote on that board, where decisions are made, is very diluted.
And we've actually seen this in other parts of the country where they have put regional taxing districts and authorities in place, and it does. They're one arm length distance from the local voter, and what we see is special interests get empowered. Yes. So the influence of the local voter is diluted, but the influence of special interests seems to become greater.
That's the case, and this is something we have to be very wary of. You know, if you look at regional transportation planning, we have the chairman of the 7 MPOs, Metropolitan Planning Authorities, in the 7-county area meet as a chair's coordinating committee. There's one regional authority. The Florida Department of Transportation has another regional transportation authority in this region, and now we have TBARTA. How many do we need?
Well, that's exactly right, and you wonder, do they step on each other's toes? But, I mean, historically, Florida Department of Transportation has 7 districts in the state of Florida, and they've really played that role of the glue, crossing the different municipalities and the different counties with the projects that need to do that. So it certainly appears that TBARTA is an extra layer that perhaps may not be needed. But TBARTA really doesn't have any staff. So no. They always just, they have to go out to vend it out and have consultants anyway. So I guess the question is, when you look at it, what exactly is it that they do?
Yeah, in my opinion, when you look at it, what you see is a shell. You don't see the structure necessary to be a viable regional planning agency. So what do? Well, when you look at their powers and the representation, it's clear that what they want to do is they want to use a lot of authority and a lot of power to execute something. And I think that's what they're there for. They're there to execute a master plan, and with their power and limited representation from the high population areas, they're going to do it with minimal problem from the people.
Well, we're going to watch this closely because TBARTA, I think, will continue to be an issue. It just, as it is in the Pinellas referendum, where we've had the issue with regard to Ronnie Duncan being chairman of TBARTA, we're also going to continue watching the funding from the Hillsborough County perspective. And if that issue comes back up again, we're going to get back involved. So, Ken, is there anything else that you'd like to provide us on TBARTA as far as what we need to watch or consider, being careful, in watching what they do?
No, I think we've pretty well covered it, but TBARTA is an agency we really have to ask if it's needed and if it's built to do the will of the people, because I don't really think it is.
We'll stay tuned and watch, and we appreciate, Ken, you being with us today talking about TBARTA, and that's Zion Tampa Bay, and I'm Sharon Calvert. Thank you.